Before I get started with the tutorial, I wanted to let you know that there is a yarn weight of 6 listed on the yarn that I used for mine. You will need a large crochet hook, 1 skein of the yarn, a wire wreath, and mine was 12 inches, and some scissors. Okay, hi, it's Laura Kleber back with My Home Matters to do kind of a take 2 on the chunky yarn wreath that I did several videos back. It was one of my first videos that I was regularly doing on Thursdays, and as I watch it back, it kind of makes me cringe because there were a lot of little glitchy things in the video that I didn't realize for some reason until after the fact, after several hundred of you had watched it, that really kind of bothered me. So I wanted to do another one, because I want another one of these somewhere else for the Christmas holidays in a neutral color, but also I wanted to try doing it on a different kind of wreath form. The last time I did it on the straw wreath form background, so it was pretty thick. This one I wanted to be, you know, just the thickness of this, very narrow. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to maybe take a second chance at this and do a better job for you. So I'm using just a regular chunky yarn that you can get, you know, like at a craft store. This is 8-ounce yarn. I think they call that, I don't know if that's considered 8 weight. I don't know the technical terms for the weights and things. I'm not a crocheter, but it's the chunky yarn. The weight on the tag says 8 ounces. I see this at Walmart. You know, you can find this type of yarn several different places, but I just wanted to go with a neutral. So I have my same big crochet hook. This was the biggest one that came in a multi-pack that I found at Walmart. And the first thing I'm going to do is the same thing I did with the actual straw wreath background. I have the end of the yarn here. I'm going to reach through the center and pull it up through the center, and just going to start out by tying just one knot there. Not really a knot. I'm only going to do it one time. I'm not going to tie a second one, so I'm not going to make it an actual knot, but I'm going to leave, you know, about 5 or 6 inches out here for later. That's just going to hold it in place. And I just decided to start right on one of these cross braces here. And then I'm going to reach through again the center and bring the yarn up through the center. I'm going to grab my crochet hook and I'm going to lay it over top of that first loop that I made, or that first piece that I wrapped. So when I bring this up through the center, I'm going to bring it behind that loop and over, and just sort of let it rest there. Then I'm going to pull this a little bit kind of taut from the back here, from the back side, and then I'm going to bring that over the loop. Then I have something to pull with my hook. So I'm going to pull this piece through the previous piece, and that's going to create the first actual loop. Then I'm going to, again, I'm going to keep that there, pull that kind of tight because I want this to pretty much be tight around here. Not like so tight that it's pulling, but pretty much the, you know, the exact size of wrapping it around here. I want to keep these all consistent. So now I'm going to keep that there. I'm going to reach through again and pull that up from the back through the center. I'm going to slide this out a little bit, go behind the crochet hook and over, let it rest there for a second, pull this back taut, back here, and then over, right at the hook. So now I have something to pull. I'm going to pull that through the first loop. Then I still have this one here. I'm going to pull it through the second. Sometimes I might have to help it a little bit with my fingers, but so there's another loop. Now, if I keep this here, but I kind of tilt it towards the side, what's happening is we're forming kind of this braided look, but it's actually going to be going towards my left. So I don't want to let go of this. Keep that in there. But then you're going to keep repeating this process. You're going to reach through the center, pull it up and around, up through the middle, behind your crochet hook and over. Let that rest there. Pull this excess tight and then loop it up around. Bring it up around on the front of the hook, top of the hook. Then you're going to pull through the first loop and then you're going to pull through the second again. So now if I tilt it to the side, now you can kind of see maybe that this is, you know, going to form this braid, pretty braid going around to the side. So I'll do it one more time and then I'm going to continue this all the way around to the end, to the other, back to the beginning. Now you can see that also I'm kind of getting away from my starting point. So let me do this next one and pull it through, behind the hook and over. Let that rest, pull this and bring it up over. Then you pull through that first loop, then you pull through that second loop and try to keep them all about even. So again, we're going in that direction, but you can kind of get a feel. All right, I'll do one more. Pull through the center, behind your hook and over, pull this tight, up and over the hook, pull through loop one, pull through loop two. Now I'm going to keep that in there, but I'm going to kind of slide it back over or slide them together. Even if you can't get it to move over, kind of even them out. You don't want to see the green between when you're done, especially if you're using a light yarn like this, but you don't want them to be too squished together either. But since it's like a slippery material, it's easy to kind of push them together. So I'm going to continue going around and doing that, and I'll meet you back here. Now I wanted to take a pause just to mention that as I'm doing this, I'm kind of loosening up a little bit of the yarn as I go, but as I do this, I kind of try to tighten as I go, because you'll find that you could easily start getting everything a little bit too loose. So like right here, I just keep kind of trying to tighten the yarn up. Don't pull so hard that you snap the yarn. There is like a wick inside there, but just snug it up as you go. Each time you get to this step where you pull the loops through. Like that. Okay, so I'm almost to the end here. And you may have seen me on the end of that fast forwarded motion there, just a couple of loops back. I actually put the hook down and needed to use my fingers to pull the yarn through because it wasn't wanting to come through. And I wanted to be gentle because I don't want to break the yarn. So you just have to know like how, you don't want to pull too hard that you're going to snap it in half. All right, so let's see if I squish this over, how many more I should do. I don't want to squish it so far that it looks super lumpy. Let's see what one more, maybe two, looks like. I'm gonna try one more. My lights keep going dim because for some reason, every time our furnace kicks on, it dims the lights. Then when the furnace kicks back off, the lights come back on brighter. Okay, so let's see. So the nice thing about the flat version of this is that the braid can kind of be right on the edge. With the round one, I was kind of deciding and felt like I was always trying to even out where that braid was. Now, I am going to clip this off with a little bit of extra, and I'm actually going to pull that loop all the way through. So now I have sort of these two tails here, and those the beginning and the end are not connected yet. So I'm just going to take the original loop, the original tail, and I'm going to put it through this last loop that I made to kind of catch that. And I'm going to take the tail on the end from what we just clipped off, and I'm going to put it through the loop, the first loop over here. I'm kind of just meeting them together as inconspicuously as I can. And then on the back, you could try to take the hook and catch it. I'm just gonna try to thread it through as many of these as I can. To hide it behind. And then same thing with this one. But I'm gonna go the other way. So if you can catch it with the hook, that might be easier, but you might have a better chance with your fingers. I'll get it behind as many as I can. So it's kind of in between the front and the back. You could, if you wanted to, probably try to tie some kind of a knot up here. Now I want to loosen this up a little bit. It's hard to see where they even went once you get to this point. I don't want to pull it too tight that it looks, there we go. I might actually do one more looser loop in here just to have, basically just kind of loop them together just to the point where they look like, it might not be the perfect loop here, but you're just kind of trying to connect them as inconspicuously as you can. And then I think I pulled my first one too tight, so it pulled it too tight right there and it was obvious. So if I loosen that up a little bit, then I'll come back and thread it through a few of those. Now you could, if you wanted, you could add some kind of embellishment, like if you wanted to put a bow, or if that connector part bothers you, you could put a bow and you could use wire or a zip tie or string, even twine, to connect the bow to the wire part of the wreath and hide all of that. And then you could have your bow hanging down. I'm not sure if I'm going to add a bow or not. I'm going to look at this and make my final decision. Okay, what I decided to do, to use up a little bit more, I have a lot of yarn left, and to just give you an idea of what you could do if you're not happy with that end, meeting point there. I decided to just use some of this extra yarn to create a bow as if it was all one piece. I thought about using gold because where I'm going to put it, I'm using gold, but I just wanted to keep it simple and soft. So I cut another piece a couple of feet long, and I think the easiest thing to do is going to be to just go over top of this and thread that piece through between the pieces behind it. And pull it tight like that at the top. You could even thread below, but I'm just going to go right over top. So if I pull that tight on the back, then you don't really even see it. So I'm going to tie a double knot here. Again, don't pull so hard that you snap the yarn. But then I'm going to go take it in where I want to hang it. It's going to hang off of the bedroom mirror of my dresser. And this gives me a little bit of play here. I'm going to see how much I need in terms of excess, and I could create a loop for hanging as well, as well from this. So I'll determine that amount once I go place it on the mirror. As always, please subscribe to our channel. I'm going to show you a quick little video here in a second of my wreath placed on the mirror in position. And if you could follow us on social media, that would be wonderful as well. We are My Home Matters, LLC, and my_home_matters. Thanks so much.